President Biden has promised a peaceful transition to power. That would be something the American people would probably welcome. You're looking now at a president who is going to welcome the incoming one, President-elect Trump, later this week inside the Oval Office.
I want to emphasize to you, Mr. President-elect, that we now are going to want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then the country succeeds.
Quite a moment back there after the 2016 election. Then President Obama welcoming President-elect Trump to the White House. And now Trump this week will meet with President Biden in the Oval Office. We'll read the body language and chemistry between these two presidents as much as we did back in 2016, 2017 during that transition period. So let's bring in Ed O'Keefe, who has covered President Biden for a long time. Ed, what's your read on how President Biden's going to handle this meeting with President-elect Trump?
Oh, while it's not working out the way he would have liked, I think he understands and has signaled that he wants this transition to be much like the one that President Obama offered to President-elect Trump, which is a seamless one, a professional one, and one in which the doors of the federal government were open to his team should they decide to walk through them and take advantage of the time. And we'll get a good read on that pretty quickly, probably, when they meet at 11 a.m. at the White House on Wednesday. This is, again, a meeting that he signaled last week would happen, that the Trump team very quickly accepted, and we'll also watch to see who exactly may tag along. There are reports the First Lady will not, but does he bring along Susie Wilds, his chief of staff, who, while she's run political campaigns with great skill in the last several cycles, has never run a government operation quite like the federal government? Does he bring along any other aides who may be preparing to take over domestic or national security policy? All of that to be determined. And the other big question is, does Vice President Harris happen to show up that day in the West Wing or avoid the spectacle? We'll have to wait and see.
What do you make of how the Biden White House is processing the defeat of Vice President Harris?
There's still a sense of shock and disappointment. And understanding among some that perhaps if the president had gotten out sooner, things would have gone differently, and others who are most loyal to the president who believe maybe he should have kept going despite the pressure from his party. I mean, even weeks after he decided to drop out, ran into aides in the White House who were still quite sore about the fact that he had been essentially defenestrated by his party in favor of the vice president. We'll probably get more of a read of that later this week as she reemerges in the public space, but also as the president himself hits the road and starts holding more public events after being relatively off the grid for the last several weeks in the closing days of the campaign.
President Biden, Ed, as you know, hosting Israeli President Isaac Herzog. And what do we know about the meeting between these two leaders as the unrest continues in the Middle East?
Well, this comes between the two head of state as the relationship between the White House and the head of government, Benjamin Netanyahu, has hit a real snag. We know, for example, the Israeli prime minister has been spending time talking to Donald Trump. There are at least 3 reported phone calls out there in the last week or so. Herzog, as head of state coming to the White House, is designed to thank the president for his leadership and for his support of Israel in the past year, and probably to get some sense of what could conceivably continue to happen here in the closing weeks, and whether we get a signal from Herzog himself on behalf of Netanyahu as to whether or not the Israeli government's willing to do anything before January 20th, or is now waiting for Trump to show up. But another of the sort of ongoing series of meetings that the current president has held with world leaders as he prepares to step down.
Ed O'Keefe. Thank you, Ed.